run around. Like glare at me.
All right.
Sorry we're late.
Yeah, run a little late. You know how that work thing happens.
They're like slave drivers over there. Or something. I don't know.
Seems like there's always something that comes up, and it always seems to come up at the end of the day, as you have to say.
Late meetings.
Well, we have an enhanced version because the wife bought me new markers, so now we can maybe see things better. Well, if I can get them open.
So. Do you need assistance over there? You gonna make it? Why do they always make packaging like people-proof? You ever noticed that?
Yeah.
They're like, let's make this the most difficult thing for someone ever.
But I can win. I can beat the thing.
He's gonna beat the packaging. Here we go.
Alright, I won.
He won.
Alrighty.
Okay, so I thought tonight, first things first, I wanted to do a little follow-up on a couple questions that you had emailed me about this week. Do you remember some of these that we talked about?
No. I remember one you sent me.
Sweet. Okay, so we had been discussing for a couple weeks if hinting had used alternate name fields in the search engine.
So the question was, do alternate names, are they included in the hinting engine? And the answer is yes. That's used as part of the hinting. Yeah. As well as the search. So yes for both.
So that's awesome. And I think we already figured out the second, third, and fourth biggest tree. They're tiny and they all feed into that one huge tree. We're still working on getting some family search stuff. We'll let you guys know when we get some cool stuff to your way. But speaking
that's
of
right, that was the t-shirt
giveaways.
Yes.
This last Easter weekend, we asked you guys to share with us your craziest family names in your tree. Because we all know we have like some crazy ones. I mean, we have some crazy ones in our family too. So we asked for your crazy names, and we wanted to share a few of our favorite honorable mentions.
Yeah, but we need to say first that there was some crazy names.
Wow.
And there is some names that we really can't put on live.
There was a few.
There was a few that was like, I don't know if you want to hear me saying that word. So some really interesting
combinations, if you will,
of names.
So we wanted to go through and share some, I guess, honorable mentions before we announce our winner for the night.
I can't remember where we went. Oh, there we did.
This is our winner, so don't say that one first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I took her out. So these are our honorable mentions.
So,
you want to?
Yeah, sure. So we take turns.
Okay.
So here's one. One honorable mention was Admiral Crabtree. Yay, Admiral Crabtree.
First name Admiral. I mean, how crazy of a name would that be?
Yeah, that wasn't a title. That was his first name.
Well, that's a weird first name.
Okay.
All right, another one was Thankful Wait.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to be thankful.
No, I'm thankful that I just can wait for a minute. I don't have to do the next thing. Yeah.
The first name is Thankful. That's so crazy.
Let's see. We had Loomis Linger. Loomis Linger.
Kind of sounds like a Harry Potter spell.
Yeah, it does.
Right?
But, yeah, okay.
Expelliarmus.
There you go. Next one.
The next one was Sheriff Marshall.
Sheriff Marshall.
Sheriff Marshall.
Is he the sheriff or is he the marshal?
I'm not really quite sure.
He does both.
He's a sheriff and a marshal.
Local town and federal. But yeah, Sheriff is his first name and last name was Marshall.
How crazy is that name? Okay. It's you.
All right, so these are still honorable mentions. Right?
Yep.
So here's one called Romance Richard. How would you like that as your first name?
Romance.
Did they say whether that was a girl or a boy?
They did not mention.
Didn't say. How would you like to be Mr. Romance?
Well, I mean, it could be really
You'd have to live up to that thing. I don't know. The first name is Romance, and they go, my wife would go, Romance? Right.
I guess they'd have to, fulfill those dreams.
Yeah.
All right. This one was a really good one. We like this one. George Alexander Fitzroy Butts.
Yeah. Butts is never a good name.
Like
good last name.
Like you're behind Butts. Whoa, I'm sorry.
George Butts. You can see that. We'd like to announce our new mayor, Mr. George Butts. Horrible. That would be a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, that would be. Okay, this one was a fun one.
So. This was one that was not necessarily a name, but there was a man by the name of
a woman named
Thursey, and she married her husband, whose name was Ursi. So we'd like you to meet Thirsty and Ursi. Thirsty and Ursi. Can you imagine that as a couple?
What a weird combo. Thirsty and Ursi?
Yeah.
I would hate to go through
life. You think they were
that.
attracted because they had the same name?
I don't know. Maybe. The next one we loved was Sarah Laughhead. I mean, Laughhead.
Sarah Laughhead. That's got to be a tough last name.
Heavens.
Laughhead.
Seriously.
Do you think she laughed a lot? Maybe she was just sick of it.
I hope so.
Well, I don't know. She could be really tired of laughing.
I can only hope. Okay.
The next one. Now this one was interesting just because of what it is. So
Yeah.
first name Church
Yeah.
and last name Bell. So her name is, or his name is Church Bell.
Church Bell.
So, hey, Church Bell, where's the church bell? Up at the top of the chapel.
Well, actually,
I mean,
he's right here. It's Church Bell.
Yeah, that Church Bell.
What an interesting combo. Okay, our last honorable mention was Love War.
Love War.
What a weird combo.
First name Love, last name War.
Love War.
Think she was a warrior?
I don't know.
She loved war. Love War.
Couldn't say.
I don't know.
All right. I will let you do the honors. Do you want me to give you a drum roll for the winner?
For the winner. So here's the winner. Now, I will say that I had a significant influence from the ladies in the house. They were sort of helping me vote. The wife and the daughter.
I did help sway a little bit.
So there was a little swaying. I was kind of, So the winner is Comfort Furnace. How about that for a name? It even works. You get the Linux, you get Comfort Furnace. So her name was Comfort Furnace.
Comfort Furnace. What a weird name.
I suspect Furnace probably was, I don't know when she was born, but she was probably born before indoor heating,
Oh, maybe. Couldn't say.
I don't know.
I would hope so, because otherwise that'd just be like a weird name to have.
Yeah, Comfort Furnace.
Maybe her parents invented the furnace?
Could be.
I hope so.
They could have called it the furnace.
So, Missy K, you are the winner of this giveaway. So if you'll send us a message on Facebook so we can get your information, we'd love to send you a prize.
There you go.
So yeah, and then we'll be in contact with some of our favorite honorable mentions. We have a little something for you guys as well. So thanks for participating in that. That was super fun to see some crazy names, especially over Easter weekend. We were having a good time sharing with our family and laughing over our Easter egg hunt. So speaking of Easter egg hunts, that was kind of a crazy day, huh?
Yeah, but it was a good day.
It was a good day. And we did find out, did you want to tell them what you're having?
I'm having?
Well, not what you're having. You're getting another
I'm getting another grandchild. I have 4 little grandboys. Mm-hmm. And we just found out that my youngest daughter is having we believe, 80% that she's having a girl. So we'll have a granddaughter. That'd be nice to have.
The first. She's breaking the streak for us.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Okay, let's get into some questions today, guys. We have quite a few. Woo! All right. So this question is from Lisa. She's off of Facebook. And she says she serves at the local family history center and she helps a lot with people to upload photos into their memory sections of the family tree. Most people have a preference in the order of the photos that are displayed. Right now the order is dependent on the upload date. Is there any chance that this is going to change?
Well, what we're looking at is, if you notice that there's a date and place where you can put it.
Okay.
And so we're talking about when you enter in your dates and places, maybe we'd allow an option so you could just say sort by date. And then it would do, oldest to newest or newest to oldest. You'd be able to flip it back and forth. So that's something we're talking about. In sources you can drag things around, but that just doesn't feel the same as good in memories, because you got a whole lot more. I mean, you may have several hundred memories, and so you wouldn't necessarily have several hundred sources on a person. So, excuse me. So we're thinking that. So let us know whether that would work if we just sorted by the date that you enter in, the date of the memory, and
maybe we'll ask.
We're also, we've been talking also about this is something we haven't planned or anything. This is just my head. So something in my head about memories is I thought it might be interesting to have labels on memories. So you could go in and label things. Like this is family reunion, or this is whatever. You can make up a bunch of labels, and just any kind of label you want. And then you can sort or group or filter by the label. Show me all of them that has a dog, or show me all of them that have, the old homestead or whatever. I tell you, I can't believe I'm dying.
Do you need me to go get you a glass of water? You want to go sip of mine?
I'm gonna have to have a sip of yours. I got something in my throat.
Guys, did you backwash into there? I'm gonna be mad.
No, I ain't got nothing in my backwash.
Okay.
So tell me what you think about that. Labels or sorting by date. I think that's the most efficient way to do the memories. So that's what we're thinking. So let me know if that's a good thought.
I'm gonna add this. I'm gonna ask you guys as a poll for those of you that can't be on with us right now. So, okay, the next question is from Pau. Wants to know if after dying a person is buried in a place where, oh my goodness, okay, in a place where is done the religious ceremony, but years after that the body is moved to another grave. Should we add the first or the second place as the place of burial in the vital information section?
Well, I have my opinion.
Okay.
I don't know if I have a genealogical opinion. I believe that the burial should be where they are now.
Currently.
Where you can find them.
Okay.
Because I think that will lead people to want to go look for headstones and things like that. So I think the burial in the vital section should be where they are currently buried. Certainly I would go into the other information and add a custom event that says, that you were buried originally in this place but moved to this other place at a different time, different date.
Yeah.
So I think that would be valuable to put in there in the other section as a custom event, where you can say, buried and then buried here, then moved here, and then give some dates and notes about what happened and maybe why they were moved, whatever.
Okay.
But I think the burial ought to be where they can be found, right then.
At that moment.
Yeah.
Okay. Woo. Sorry, I just skipped 15 questions right there. Okay. Next question is from Lisa. So she serves at. Oh wait, we just already saw this one. Hold on. Just kidding. Brian has a question that says, has the algorithm for record hints been broadened recently? In the past, the hints seem to be in the range of 95% accurate. Now I'm seeing many more hints that are not for the suggested person.
Oh, okay. Well, there has been some changes to the hint engine. Our intention is not to reduce accuracy, but to try to help you find some more records that are about the person. And what's happened recently with the hinting engine is before, in the hint engine, they only looked at the one person. They said name, how close does it match the name, how close, birth, death, burial, things like that.
Okay.
And so you would find records that were pretty close because we had that specific data. Well, the hint engine tried to look at records. We still use that sort of things when it's a more reasonable record, like a death record or a birth record or something like that.
Sure, like a certificate.
Right, but we also wanted to find matches of things that had less data.
Okay.
So it had, take for the ones that you're probably seeing that's been happening more is obituaries. So we had some recent obituaries, and we were working on how to hint those, because obituaries really only has, when they died and maybe where they died and the name. But it also has family members, so it'll say stuff like, survived by, or preceded, so and so preceded in death. So they give you relationships. So what we did with the hint engine is, for those ones that have less data, we're trying to look and say, do we have a family in the tree that has that person as a, as a relative? And then it says, like in the obituary, say spouse is so and so, or children, and then we'll look for things that have that family, that has that person as the father, and with this spouse, with these kids, and we'll try to match them up. So that is certainly a little bit less. There's greater chance of getting a family that has similar enough names where you might get some of that. But overall, generally, we haven't reduced the accuracy. It's just that we probably showing you hints that have less exact data on the person. Think of obituary. They just say, he died on the 18th, this month of a heart attack or whatever in this country. And so that's a small amount of data. Whereas the other stuff would have like the parents and the child and the birth date and if it's a marriage thing, you got the those kind of things. So we're trying to match up families that has less information. So
makes sense.
The one thing I do want to caution you, please, is it feels like we've had a rash of. By the way, I will say if you find several of these hints that are not about your family, make sure you mark not a match. And it would be nice if you either drop me an email or put it in Get Satisfaction. That's the feedback on Family Search. And go tell us about it, because I want to feed that information to my search and hinting guys to see if they can tune it a little bit. Because this is the first time we've done this. And sometimes it takes several passes to get it tuned better so that we get better matches that way.
Just so you guys know too, that if you submit to the Get Feedback section on the Family Search site, he sees every email that comes through there. So
there's two choices when you click feedback at the bottom of the page. There's two choices. One is contact support or something, and the other one is share your ideas or thoughts or whatever. That's the feedback I'm talking about. You click there, tell us what was happening, and then I read every one of those.
He sees every single one. That's probably part of the reason why it takes them a little while to answer emails.
Yes, it does. I get a lot of emails. So I look at all of those, and if the community is answering it, fine, then I leave it alone. If they need some help, then I'll answer it. If I find things in there that look like might be a problem, I forward it on to the team that's doing that work and say, hey, took a look at this and see if there's something wrong here.
Right.
Okay, so let me know.
Okay.
But that is what's going on. Oh, the obituaries. What I wanted to tell you is be careful about your obituaries. What we're finding is a little bit of an increase, not super significant, but we're seeing some increase in people creating dead out of living people. Oh. It happened in the 1940 census. A lot of people assume that if you were in the 1940 census, you must be dead. But my mother was in the 1940 census, and she's still alive. She's in her 80s. So sometimes we think 1940 is so long ago, everybody in there must be dead, and so they just mark them dead. Right. And so the obituaries, especially ones we've done recently, are fairly new, recent obituaries, like 10 years ago kind of obituaries. Okay. So odds are, if the people, and in the obituary, there's usually only one person that's dead in that whole obituary. Right? And the rest of the families are alive. So what I'm starting to see people complain about a little bit here and there is they're seeing these living relatives in an obituary being marked deceased. So you got somebody, it's a 2000 obituary, and they're marking the children all dead.
But they're all
alive. Obviously they're alive. I mean, this has only been 17 years ago, so you'd have to really go find a death certificate to prove that they're dead. And just don't assume that people are dead. Pay attention as you're in that source linker. Don't just blindly click add, especially if you don't have any death information. I've asked the team there to look at, maybe we can do a little warning message if there's no birth or death information, to warn them to say you should be careful. You should either don't add them or add them as living, and then go find the data about them being dead. Yeah.
Smart.
So be careful.
Okay, warning to the wise. Okay, our next question comes from Sarah Bird. She wants to know, I have seen some ordinances marked as unavailable when in the past the ordinance showed the dates in the temple when they are completed. This is not the same as when the ordinances are marked not available. So what does unavailable mean? So they're marked unavailable.
I've never heard unavailable.
When in the past the ordinance showed dates and temples. They're not the same as not available. So what does unavailable mean? So apparently they've been done before, but they are showing up as unavailable.
I don't think we have an unavailable.
Is that something we need to go and look a little bit?
I don't believe we have an unavailable. I think we only have
not available.
Not available or reserved or available. I don't think we have a not available, unavailable. I don't think we have an unavailable. I think the unavailable. Maybe you're not thinking of Family Search or Family Tree. There are some partner products who use the term unavailable to mean that it's already reserved by somebody else. There's a couple of third-party products that use unavailable when they mean it's not there for you to reserve.
Got it.
But I don't believe we have an unavailable. I'll look into it, but I don't think we do. So not available, just to make sure everybody's clear. What we're talking about is on the person's page. Oh, this is a nice marker.
Ooh, crisp. You better like have really good handwriting today.
So normally on a person page, oh, we need to turn that. Or
do you want me? Here, I'll just scoot over to the edge. Just kick me over. It's fine.
All right. So on the person page, on the ordinance tab, you normally see baptism, confirmation, historian endowment, and sealings down low here, and you have dates and places right over here. But sometimes you don't see that, and you see not available. Okay, it's all spelled out. It says not available there. This not available means that this particular person in the tree needs to be reviewed by a family search admin because there's something in the ordinances that need to be reviewed by an admin before you can reserve them. This can happen for a couple of reasons. The most common one that's happening right now is if you have a person that has ordinances and they're showing up, but the person is a female, for example, or a male, doesn't matter, and then you go in that person and you change the sex of the person. You make them from a male to a female or a female to male. Mm-hmm. But the ordinances that were done were about the prior sex.
Prior gender.
So if you were a female and these ordinances were all done for female and then you change that person to a male, then there's a question as to whether or not all these ordinances are valid. Because you can't do a female ordinance and have it valid for a male ordinance, for male.
So they need to be checked.
So the system detects that you changed the sex and that these are female and you change the sex to male, and so we put up a flag that says not available. And all that means for you is you need to contact support to get this resolved. Okay? And so they'll look at it, they'll determine whether or not those ordinances need to be invalidated or whatever, and they'll look at your evidence for why it's a male, and they'll make a determination, and then they'll remove the flag that causes this to go away, and then if all these ordinances were female, now they'll all be green temples because there are no male ordinances for that person. Okay? Does that help you understand I'm not available? Now, here's the next thing that came up today, or last couple of days. So if you have person 1 and then person 2, and this has not available, and this one is okay. So let's say I take, let's do this example. So here I have a person 1 in the tree, and I have a person 2 in the tree, and this person 2 has not available on its ordinance tab. That means it's had a, the sex has been changed on the person. Mm-hmm. And then you merge this person into this person. Well, when you do, you know all the ordinances that are sitting here are now over here. Because all the ordinances, as we said before, end up on the surviving person.
Correct. Well,
first off, we're not going to let you merge people that are different sex. We don't let you merge a male with a female. You have to merge a male with a male and a female with a female. So if you took this as a female and you changed it to male, and then you merge it with this male, well, now this one gets socked away. Now this one will have not available on it.
Right, because you changed the gender.
Because this was a male before, this was a female, now it's a male. Mm-hmm. When you put it up here, we still haven't answered the question of whether those female ordinances, which are now sitting over here, are valid.
Right.
So until the admin looks at it, anytime I'm a merge or anything, it'll carry that not available until an admin takes a look at it and resolves it.
Makes sense.
That makes sense? That's hard to read. See, it said not available. Yeah.
I just said it. You had to be pretty.
Does that make sense? Can you read whatever's up there?
Yes, I can read.
What does that say?
Christy's asking you a question. Christy, I have your question. I have it on the list.
Oh,
We're gonna get to it. Don't panic. I promise. I saw it. I got it on there. Don't worry. We'll get to you.
All right.
Okay. Next question is from Diane Westmoreland. She says, when attaching hints of marriage records, many times it will give us the father and the mother of the groom, but also the father and mother of the bride with her maiden name. But it doesn't always let us attach both parents' names. Do we have to write the parents' names down and attach them manually, or is there another way to do it?
There's another way, and this is going to take some drawing. So hold on a minute here.
Whoa, buddy.
So,
good thing we got some fresh markers for your drawing skills.
Okay, so this is the father, this is the mother, this is the bride.
Right, nice.
And then on this side it has father, mother, bride, and then it has father, mother
groom.
Of the groom. Okay. I don't know if I can remember this well enough in my mind. Okay, so this is what we call, internally we call it the source linker, but it's basically this quick attach thing. It allows you to take, when you go take a marriage thing and you say, I want to attach it to a person in the tree, you end up with the record on one side and the people in the tree on the other side. And as you know, you have a little button here that says attach, right? And attach, and attach. And so you attach that record there, that record there, that record there, but then down here you got the groom. You got the groom sitting here, and you got the father and mother of the groom. So how do you attach them?
Right.
You don't have to write it. You don't have to put it down. What you can do is, it's all about who is your focus while you're here. Okay, so the focus is the person you first had to attach it to. All right. So if I remember right, there's a little thing here that looks like a person.
Wow, your drawing skills are impressive tonight.
That is terrible.
Looks like a mushroom.
Yeah, I know. So
there's
a person here. There's a thing that looks like a person, I believe.
Okay.
And it lets you change. If you click that, you can pick any one of these people to be the person of focus, the person that this right side is about.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So then I would be able to switch it from the
So
bride to
once you're done linking the bride and the mother and father, you can click that thing and you go find the groom.
And then attach the father.
And then it'll bring the groom up, and then you can attach the groom and the father and mother of the groom.
Got it.
Yeah. Do you see that? Mm-hmm. So sometimes you see that. Sometimes you see some that has the father, the mother, and the grandparents or something, and this is the same sort of thing you have to do. You have to change the person of focus to like this person and then do their grandparents.
Got it.
So try that. I'm doing it from memory, so if I messed up, just send me an email and then I'll give you some screenshots for it. But
where we can record a screen video.
This quick attach has lots of features. Many of them are hidden. That's sort of the things I'd like to kind of change, because you have to kind of understand all these hidden things. But go look for the little person and see you can change who the person is that you want to make focus, and you do, and it'll change everybody around on the right hand side. It'll move all of them around. You're in a different family now, and then now you can attach those people in that family. Okay?
Makes sense.
That's how you do it.
Okay. Attaching people left and right. Here we go.
All right.
Okay. Lehi, I'm sure I'm going to slaughter this. I'm really sorry.
We're not responsible for names.
Minor. Okay. Trying to untangle a merge of two persons with a spouse and children of like names and dates. Both families had all the ordinances complete. You spoke about merges and ordinances on our last live. And she has a follow-up question. So if the person is restored after the deletion of the merge, are the ordinances the person had at the time of the merge restored? I understand that there may be a lag time that you mentioned, maybe. So we took two people, we merged them together, we decided, whoop, don't want to merge, separated them apart. She wants to know, when I separated, do the ordinances stay with the people that they were meant to be on before the merge happened?
Right.
Okay.
So unmerge. Okay, so start out, I'll repeat how it works. So here's person one. It has ordinances. Well, you can't see that. Ordinance 1. And here's ordinance 2. Well, that looks terrible. Here's ordinance 2. Here's ordinance 1.
Don't try writing upside down. You're really bad at it.
Ordinance 1 and Ordinance 2 sitting on these two people.
Okay.
When you merge 2 into 1, then Ordinance 2 comes over here. It's still over there, but it's also over here. Okay?
And they decide which ones to keep active.
And then,
right?
the system decides which ones stay. As shows up, it's the effective ordinance, which is the earliest one.
Okay.
Okay, now, wait, behind the counter.
Don't let anybody know you're taking a drink. You showed them you're taking a drink, man.
Couldn't bend far enough down. All right, now your question is, what happens if I do it? You had two questions. One is, what happens if I do an unmerge? Okay, so unmerge. So if you do an unmerge is like as if that merge never happened. Mm-hmm. So if you push the unmerge button in the change log, then this goes away, and this one that it came from there, that one goes away. So everything's back to the way it was before. So now that's just setting it up. We haven't answered her question yet. So now her question is, so I did this merge. It's got Ordinance 2 over here. All right. Now I don't do the unmerge because people made edits to the change log. And as soon as you edit to the change log, you can't unmerge anymore. The only thing you can do is restore this P2. Okay. You go into the change log, you find the merge, you click on the deleted name, it'll show you this person, and on that page you can click restore person.
Got it.
And the answer is yes. What it does is, if you hit restore, so you say restore here, when you say restore, what happens is this ordinance goes away from P1.
So it's essentially like an unmerge.
That's right. The only difference between, when it comes to ordinances, a merge and an unmerge and a restore do exactly the same thing.
Okay.
When it comes to conclusions, you know that that's different, because I don't know where these conclusions are supposed to go, so they still stay on P1, even though this person has been restored away.
Got it.
All right?
Okay.
That should be the case, and you have to wait for a little bit, of course, to get it all figured out. That's the way it's supposed to work. If you find cases where it doesn't, let me know. But yeah.
It should work
That's the way it works.
All right. Okay. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
That's right.
All right. Another one.
Try a different color here, just for fun. Whoa. Just for grins.
You're gonna
I want to go with purple. Michael Jackson.
Whoa. That's Prince. Prince is purple.
Michael Jackson had the glove.
White.
Oh, crud. All right.
It's like you know none of your pop history.
I don't know. Back then, they didn't tell you who was singing and what the name of the song was. You didn't get to look it up on your phone and find out what it was, okay?
Horrible.
Okay, who's next?
Okay, Diane Westmoreland wants to know, I have several stories that I've been waiting to post. When can I add pictures to go with that part of the story? Can you tell us when that feature might be added?
Well, I suspect she's not talking about the way you can do it now, because right now you can add one picture to a story.
I'm assuming that is not
So I'm assuming you're talking about you want to do like a bloggy thing where you have multiple pictures inside of it, sort of embedded in the story with text around it and stuff.
Okay.
And the answer is we are currently investigating a way to do that. I don't have a date as to when it will be, but I did visit with that team. We discussed it last week, actually. No, earlier this week. What are we in? Wednesday?
We're on Wednesday.
Yeah, this week I talked to that team, and they're investigating how they would go about doing that. So we want to do that. We've wanted to do that from the beginning, but we haven't had time to. Now we have time to start working on that.
So sometime before the millennium.
Yeah, or after.
Or after.
Slightly after. So
hard to say.
Yeah, before or during. No, slightly before, right after. No, I don't know. Whenever. I'll let you know.
Sometime before the end of the world.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
Okay.
Okay, Don Reynolds would like to know, what trends do you see among the major family history partnerships?
What trends do I see?
If there are trends, I guess.
Well, there's there's a lot of, we have different kinds of partners. We have partners who provide some great additional service that we don't have, like Find a Record or Pozilla, or and I'm sorry I'm not mentioning them all. I probably shouldn't have mentioned any of them, but as an example. And they do some good things. You know, they help you. We have descendancy, but they have some nice things that go out and find. Like Find Records goes through and says, well, these things should be, you should have these censuses. These persons have these censuses, and so it helps you find those records. We got other kind of partners that are trying to help you do other things quicker or better. Like there's ones that go and find ordinances, which I have mixed feelings for. I mean, it's certainly fine to go find ordinances, and I understand it's hard to walk your tree to do that. The only thing I ask is if you do find some, I would like you to make sure and double check that there's no duplicates and that it's a reasonable thing for you to reserve. There's other partners who like to build graphs from the tree and make little books out of memories and things like that, which are all good, nice things. But a lot of these partners, they don't have records and things like that, and so it's nice to have partners that have records that will be useful to help you find more information, like Ancestry or MyHeritage. Find My Past is a partner that we're working together to help get some things there. And I don't know. Generally, certainly there's a lot of DNA going on, so the partners have sort of. Not only trying to, the mad rush was collect records for the last several years, and they're still collecting records, but they're going, really nuts on DNA. And DNA can have some interesting things. We have to realize it's not always exact. It's not an exact science. So, anyway, I don't know. Is that a trend?
I think so.
I don't know what the trend is. The trend is that there's more people interested in genealogy in the industry, and there's more genealogy companies popping up. And we're happy about that. We think the more people that are interested in genealogy, the more work will get found and the more work will get done. And if we just need to share it. I try to recommend to people, even if they're using some of these other sites, that they ought to consider putting their information in the genealogy sections of FamilySearch.org. Because, we know how to preserve stuff. We have genealogies that we've had for 100 years. And we're going to preserve those genealogies. And the genealogies that you upload into the genealogy section. So you go to genealogies, and on that page at the bottom, there's a Submit My Tree, and you can put up a GEDCOM file. And Steve Rockwood talked about this in the last Roots Tech. That's a great place to put things in order to publish it. You can send people there to search your GEDCOM. You can, and we'll preserve it, and we'll continue to preserve it for forever.
Cool.
So that's a good place to do it. You sure hate to have your GEDCOM file end up, in a storage unit someplace and nobody ever see it. So anyway, I don't know if there's a general trend. Seems like a lot of DNA sort of right now, because that's got some momentum behind it to try to help. And there's probably some things that DNA gets very interesting, especially for those people who are very disconnected from their families. There's really not a lot of records. We often use an example. It was brought up in Roots Tech about you have the blacks who were taken from Africa and brought over to South America or Central America and some of the United States, as slaves and things. And there's really no records. Sometimes you get some slaves listed in a family when they do a census or something in the early time, but it's really hard sometimes to trace your line back because the records are sparse, and DNA can help you figure out where to start looking, if they have those issues. So I think that's the latest trend that's going on. DNA. And lots more records. Everybody's always trying to get records. And I think the industries, we're trying to cooperate more. As Family Search, we're trying to share our records and help others. And like we say, and we always want to have it free for everybody. Whatever we can do. Okay, so two things I want to mention really fast before we go on to our next question. I wanted to welcome the Round Rock Family History Center. They just joined us from Texas. So nice to have you guys with us. Hi, y'all.
He's from Texas, in case you guys
believe it or not. Some would argue whether it's really Texas. It's like El Paso.
It's like part of Mexico.
Yeah, it's more Mexico than it is Texas. But hey, it's a city that covers 3 states and 2 countries is what it's advertised.
Bam, bam.
Yeah.
And then Calvin Knight wanted to say, thanks for coming up to the South Davis Family History Fair.
Yeah.
He said it's too bad that it was so poorly attended. He thinks that they had a lack of advertising this time.
What I felt bad is it was kind of, there was just kind of a few people scattered off this giant auditorium. And it was hard to feel connected. So I'm sorry, and I couldn't click my clicker, and I had to yell out next, and that sort of throws off your timing. But I hope it was worth it. I hope you got some good information from those that taught there. I'm sure they came prepared and taught. And so, anyway, I was glad to be there. We will be having I'm off to another conference.
Yeah, we can tell them about it at the end of this so that we can remember. And I'll add it as an event. Okay. D. Wilkins wants to know, would it be possible to have the patrons watch a tutorial before they hit the request ordinances button? This may help the patron become aware of the need to make sure that the information is correct before creating a messy problem to be fixed. This may help with some to become aware of the hints and the red alerts that show that there is a problem. Well,
we have to do a balancing here. We have to do a balancing. We've talked a lot and discussed amongst ourselves inside of FamilySearch for many years about how can we teach somebody enough about how to do genealogy or how to deal with the system and things to watch out for. But we have to do it in such a way that it doesn't discourage them from doing something, and it doesn't stop them from doing anything. We want them to have a success and stuff. So we're trying to balance this line. We haven't figured it out yet. It's going to take us a while of tweaking and testing and trying different things to try to do it. Now, the data problems, there are some data problems that you can't, unless they're fixed, you can't reserve or anything. So we have a set of those, and we won't allow you to request the ordinances unless those data problems are fixed. And we'll keep looking at it. We'll keep struggling with trying to figure out ways. I hear about, sure, it would be nice if we could show people a little, even if it's a 30-second video, how to merge and what things you need to look for before you let them merge. That still feels a little uncomfortable, because we want people to not feel like they're having to go through all these hoops and stuff to get done. So we're looking at all sorts of things. We're looking at, can we put little clues inside the merge, for instance, say, hey, these names are kind of they match, but they're kind of distant, or the birth date's more than 5 years apart, so that maybe you want to double check, or the places they were born in are more than 100 miles apart, and hey, back in the 1800s, they didn't really travel 100 miles, so they're probably not the same person.
Right.
Try to start give those kind of clues, and it's a tough challenge to try to. When have you been trained enough so you can do it?
Right.
And
where's that line?
And does it mean you have to be perfect? Does it mean you have to be a great genealogist before you can make changes? Probably not. And then so do you have to know, what do you have to really know before you can make good changes? And I'm sure all of us, when we started out, we made some good things and we made some bad stuff, and we thought we were doing right because we found records, but it was the wrong record. So this is just our challenge we'll have to work on over the next while. But I understand, in some places I really agree. I mean, I think some places we need to be more rigid than others because they're more volatile.
I agree.
But okay, thank you for your suggestion.
All right. Miss Bach wants to know, when will we be able to share and work on living people in the family tree with other users? Do you have we've talked about this, the shared living space.
Yeah, don't have a date for it.
No date yet before the end of the world.
Sorry about it. We have no date for it. We have some.
It's in progress. Right? We've started. You've gotten approval, and it's started.
We've gotten approval. We have designs. We have some other things that need to be finished. As you know, I've presented in other places and I presented in Roots Tech, and we changed the tree. We made the tree really fast. The tree data.
Yeah. So it loads quickly.
So it loads really quickly, but search isn't very fast, and that's because it's the old search system, and our possible duplicates of people isn't that great because it's using an old system that we worked on and tweaked when it was in New Family Search days, the old days. So we have to update those systems first. We have to make the search so it understands family tree as it is now. We need to make the matching system that tries to find possible duplicates be smarter, and we're going to try to use the hinting engine to help us there. So we really need to do some of those things before which are very basic, fundamental, to make sure that we give good possible duplicates, and we make sure that we give you good hints and good records. And we sort of need to do that and firm that up before we go off and finish up and do some of the living. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean that teams aren't going to get started here. It's just that it's a pretty good sized job, and but there's lots of people want it, so there's plenty of pressure on me. I get not only people when I go to conferences ask me, but I get my boss asking me, and I get my boss's boss asking me, and they're all very anxious because it's an exciting thing. It's an exciting thing, and yeah,
it's coming. But we want to make sure that all the other working pieces are working great.
And we need to understand what we're doing. Just sharing the living isn't enough. Our goal in Family Search is to try to have families work together in gathering around their living and gathering their dead, and we need to make sure that what we do for sharing living complements that and fits in with other parts. So
okay.
We're working on it. Sorry, I can't give you a date.
Okay. Lynn Tusher?
Just give them first names.
Okay, Lynn wants to know, initially, LDS membership records took priority over the duplicate records. This has been relaxed, and now membership records can be deleted by merging. The rationale for doing this, as I understand, was that the sources could be made available indicating that the person was a church member. When is that going to happen, and will these sources document such things as where and when the person joined, maybe things like wards where they resided during their lifetime? It seems like this information for that type would be useful in providing some historical background. I would like an update on any progress in the availability for the LDS membership sources for Family Tree.
Yeah, so you can merge two people together. That you're right. Before you had the membership one had to survive, and you can merge two, but it acts like ordinances, right? When you merge a person, then the membership record gets on both membership records get on the survivor, or if sometimes there's duplicate membership records, or if you take one with a member and a person that's not a member and you merge them together, and you kept the one that wasn't a member as a survivor, doesn't matter, the membership record's there anyway.
Right.
We have permission to show some of the membership information on deceased people. Membership only shares with us a limited amount of data, so we don't have information like what wards they lived in or any of that kind of stuff. So we'll probably just be able to show you things like their name, birth date, birthplace, death. I don't think they even record death place in membership records. Maybe some relationships, the parents and the spouse and the children, things like that. That's what I think we'll be able to show. We don't have ward information, which would be kind of interesting because you could see where they moved in different places. So.
Maybe if you knew where your ancestors were.
I'll have to look into that and see if that's something that we can get from membership. They haven't currently allowed us to have that information, so I'll have to look and see if that's something they're willing to share with us. Our arrangement with membership is basically to help us get information from membership so that we can construct people's trees from membership records. So, all right. Thank you, and I don't have a date for those either, as to when we'll do that. That's a lower priority, of course, than the match and the search and the sharing of living. Actually, I think it's less, but
it's on there.
But it's on the list.
It's on there. Okay, Larry, your sister-in-law.
Hi. I don't know if she's on.
I don't know if she is either. She wants to know who she can contact to find out more information about finding her Korean ancestors. She's part Korean. That's a tricky one too.
I don't know if there is anybody in Salt Lake that specializes in Korean. Larry, I'll take this and I'll go ask around, and I'll try to get you some contact information and send you an email. I got your emails. So.
Who to contact
for Korean? I mean, we have a couple of Koreans that work here in Orem with me in Salt Lake, and I know some Koreans in Korea that could probably help you, but I figure you don't want to either travel there or call long distance to get that information.
That's a really expensive phone call.
Yeah.
All right. Next question.
Now, I will
Christy.
tell you that we have a goal. We have a goal to try to get more records in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
Because saints in those parts of the world, which include people who have that ancestry, right, in those countries, but don't have records. Our goal is to try to go out and try to get some records so that we can help families that have those kind of ancestry.
Yeah.
So,
we come from like
Mexico or Florida or
Korea, Asia, Russia.
Right.
Those types of countries. You sound like you're a little dry.
Am I dry again?
Okay, Christy, we're finally to your question. I told you we wouldn't forget about you. Okay, so she wants to know, well, first off, she wants to say good evening and thank you so much for taking the time to do this, that she really appreciates it.
Well, thank you.
Well, thanks for paying attention
actually,
to
I
us.
feel sorry for the rest of the house. We kind of locked ourselves in here.
We lock them all on the other side.
They don't, they're I gotta say thanks to my wife and thanks to your husband who take care of all the stuff that's going on so we can do this, because we're asking them to do this every week for an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, and that's a lot to ask, but they're willing to do it because they know how important it is for me. So thanks everybody.
So and thanks for coming and listening.
And thanks for coming, because if you didn't come and ask questions and come and see us, then why would we do it? Well,
I can't believe we're that entertaining.
Yeah, it's naturally funny.
Okay, so she wants to know. Her father recently passed away in January of this year. So sorry about that.
Yeah.
Their ward clerk recently posted his death date and is surprised. And as a surprise to her, it showed his initiatory and endowment were done while he was still alive, but not by him. Her brothers.
Not by him?
Okay. Her brothers would like to do the work once that year time frame has passed, but since the system thinks that they were already done, how can they resolve that?
So what you need to do, that is weird. That requires
really
an admin to look at that. So what I would do is
contact support.
Go into FamilySearch, you get feedback, and there's a support thing there. Create a support case, or you can call on the phone and tell them what the problem is, and then tell them to escalate it up to tier 3 so that you can, because they're the ones that deal with the ordinance stuff.
Okay.
And then they'll look it over and see why those ordinances are there. So do that, and when you get your support case, send me an email, ron@familysearch.org, with that support case and number in it, and a little information about what you put in the support case.
You gotta remind him.
And then I'll go take a peek and make sure it gets a little attention, and
that it's keeping tabs.
just kind of peek at it and make sure that it gets routed to the right people.
Yep.
And then they'll take a look at it. I don't know what it would be. So there's been some interesting surprises though in the past. There was one that had a similar kind of thing. They didn't understand why there was some grandfather or whatever was baptized, because they didn't think they were ever members of the church. And so we went and looked and said, oh yeah, sure, they were baptized where they were members and became members, but apparently fell away, and they were a little surprised about that. So
surprise.
Yeah. So sometimes there are little surprises that pop up.
All right. Next question is from Taylor Tema. He wants to know, we have a major problem with deceased members showing ready for temple work, but they were members, even temple patrons, when they were living. Family members usually don't have proof, as most of them happened back in the days.
Okay,
is that stunning of a question? You're shocked.
Well, I'm trying to figure out. She says that there are persons in the tree that are members and did ordinances, and it shows as available.
Yeah.
That means that there is a copy of some deceased family member of yours. Right?
There's a deceased member of that person.
Yeah.
Hanging
So, like
out
for
in
instance, in my private area, I have a copy of my mother because she's living.
Right.
And when she dies, the ward clerk will mark her as dead and put in a death date. That will cause us to create a version of her that's in the tree that's deceased.
Right.
And that one will have ordinances on it.
Okay.
My copy that's in the private area, I mark her dead in that copy, and it now goes also into the public area, but it has no ordinances on it.
Right.
So my job is to
Merge.
find the membership version of her and merge the two together.
Okay.
So it sounds like to me that, and this is happening a little bit now where people are, like for instance, this is what's happening where people are really alive and they mark them dead and they show up.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, if that person is really dead, then you need to do some possible duplicates on there and see if you can find the membership version of that person.
Put them together.
Right. Maybe they're not dead. I mean, they could be living and somebody made them dead when they attached a record. Mm-hmm. And so you need to, like my wife's uncle was 94. I don't even know if he's still around. I think he's still around.
Orland?
Yeah.
And he passed away.
He passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, they put him as dead from the 1940 census, and he was like 93.
Yeah.
And I had to contact the person who put him in and say, I'm sorry, he's not dead. He's still alive. And so please remove him. And they did so, and it was fine. So this means if they were a member of the church, then somebody put in a dead version of him that's not attached to the membership record. So you need to find the membership record version and combine them together, merge them together.
Okay. Swell. Mom, do you want to say hi? Your arms in
The
there.
missus is going by.
All right. Last question for the night. Calvin Knight wants to know, how is the building in Lehi coming along?
Well, it's there. They're finishing the walls. This is a FamilySearch is going to get a new building, all our own, and it's at the point of the mountain, which is in Lehi, at Thanksgiving Point, for those who are familiar with the area.
Yep.
And it's up. It's 4 stories. They're putting the brick on the outside, and the last pictures I saw, they had a floor or two that was drywalled. So it's coming along. We're hopeful to get into the building, by the end of the year or so, and that'll be nice because we're kind of scattered around. I got people in the Orem, I got people in Salt Lake. They're kind of scattered around, and so it'll be nice to have everybody come to one place, which would be nice.
No more conference calling. You can actually talk to their face.
Yeah, it's so much nicer to walk down the hall and ask them a question rather than trying to chase them down with a cell phone or video conferencing or whatever. It's just nicer and easier. So, although it's further distance for a lot of us, people in Salt Lake unfortunately have to drive further, and I'll probably triple my commute time, but that's okay. I'm willing to do it because I want to be right there with everybody, so I don't have to long distance them.
Yeah, makes sense.
So it's coming along. It's looking nice. I think it's been a pretty building. It looks good. It's a pretty building. Lots of windows. I mean, we surveyed all the engineers and everything, and they want that natural light. We want natural light, and so we got big old huge windows on every floor. And I look at the other buildings around, and their windows look like little dinky, cell windows from a prison or something, because our windows are almost like the entire floor height kind of thing. 14-foot windows or 13-foot windows, 10 feet windows, and so they're huge. And I was laughing, teasing my boss about it. I says, we got all those windows and it's beautiful, and then as soon as the sun starts setting in the west, everyone's going to want to shut all the blinds on those big, huge windows. So.
It's gonna be hot.
And it's going to have a family discovery center in there, so that'll be nice to have people come by.
Yeah, if you're in Lehi.
Coming along. Hopefully by the end of the year. That's my guess. They haven't announced when it's going to be done or anything. So my guess is, who knows? We'll be moving at Christmas time or something. Who knows?
Next year. Maybe we can do a live and take you on the grand official
there you
tour.
go. We'll have to do a tour or something.
Of the new FamilySearch building where everybody in Family Tree.
I'd have to get permission, but probably okay.
Or just show them your cube, because they just have cubes. They're just like so they can stand up and yell at each other.
That's right. That's what I got
now.
now.
Talking to
That's what I got now is cubes.
Okay, so that was our last question for the night. Really fast, I know you have another presentation coming up this weekend for those of you that are in Utah.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell them a little bit about it?
Well, I'm presenting. See what I gotta go see the official name.
You just exited out of your calendar, goofhead.
Oh, is it on my calendar? I was gonna look somewhere else.
I would assume that you would put it in your calendar.
It is the Centerville Discovery Day conference. It's in Centerville, Utah. I understand it's a multi-state kind of deal, and I think things start up there around 9 a.m.
Okay.
So I'll be there for
a couple hours.
yeah, I've been asked to do the keynote, so I'll do the keynote stuff. Hopefully get people kick-started for the day, and then I usually always hang around for a little while because everybody always has questions. So
a little while usually means like 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I'll add the directions and the address for you guys into the Facebook page. So if you're in Utah or near the Kaysville area and you want to come, you're more than welcome to come. He would love to see you there.
Centerville.
Or sorry, Centerville. I was thinking Kaysville. Although Kaysville was this last week.
No, this last one was Woods Cross.
Why am
I don't know.
I am messed up in the head
You
tonight.
are
It's Wednesday.
geography challenged. Yeah, Centerville's like North Bountiful or something, just north of Bountiful.
I have problems. Okay.
Alrighty.
Anything else you want to add?
No, Thank you again for joining us. As always, you can put questions in at any time, and we'll just pick up where we left off and just do those questions next. If you have concerns or issues that you can't wait till the next Q&A, you can send them to me, Ron at FamilySearch.org, and I'll get to them. It may be faster to be in the Q&A, but I will respond to them eventually.
He takes a really long time.
Yeah, sometimes I'm faster than the others. I'm kind of caught up right now. I'm always only down to like 40 emails tonight.
What?
At the end of the day. So
that's like a shock.
that's pretty good. Usually I'm into several hundred. So,
But
we get there.
So, and I guess we need to say sorry about missing last week. My sister, the one that's pregnant with a girl, it was her birthday, so we took the week off to celebrate with her. So thanks for being patient with us and giving us a week off to go and celebrate a birthday.
Yeah.
And we'll figure out when works for this guy, because he's the crazy schedule guy, for next week. So as always, please feel free to share these videos with whatever or whoever. We do have a YouTube channel too, so if you don't have access to Facebook, you can send them over there. As soon as we finish these recordings, I just turn around and upload them to YouTube.
Yeah,
so
YouTube.
They're available the same day.
Family History Ron.
Family History
Ron YouTube channel.
Yep, I put a link in there this week, so go ahead and feel free to share those as well. So have a great night, guys. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Next time.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.